Steven, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Yep.
So what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of We Got Next. I'm one of your hosts of this show, Hayes, aka O Shifty, with the one, the only New York Yankee fan of the day, Steven at Steven_Spring. Steven, how you been? There's been a lot to get into. What's been going on with you?
My kid's been sick
Yep.
for months, for years.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that knows me that's been following us,
Mm-hmm.
that's the only constant
Yep.
of the years that my kids are always sick. Um, it's just I tell people all the time who have fresh kids, September until May is just, especially now when the weather's changing and it's like kind of summer-ish on some days, but it's like back to 45 degrees and raining. And Mason had pink eye as well, and both eyes. So that was
What?
tough, bro. Anyone who knows me and like how I don't deal with eyes, I'd rather just go blind and have to put eye drops in. So he had that going on. Mia's got an ear infection. We were at the doctor. The whole damn fam was at the doctor tonight. So yeah, got busy next 3 weekends for the
Yeah.
homie. I'm going up this weekend. Well, one of them's a less than stellar one. Going up this weekend. My grandma passed away last week,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going out for the services this weekend. But good to see the whole family's going to be there, which is the first time in forever. So that'll be at least good to see the fam. And the following weekend, we're going up to State College again for a blue white
Mm-hmm.
weekend, Penn State spring game. It's you and me and Mason, and hopefully my brother-in-law BJ. Shout out to the homies.
Shout
And
out.
then the following weekend is one of my boys' 35th birthdays. So obviously shenanigans. It's 420 as well. Shout
Oh,
out to the
wow.
homies,
Shout
420.
out.
So yeah, busy, man. Busy. Busy. How you doing? How you doing?
Life, I think we honestly both have busy weekends. It was crazy. I was telling somebody that this last week was probably my least busy weekend because like this, everyone knows like in my crypto world, Thursday I'm going to New York for like the NFT conference that I usually always go to.
Right.
Next week I'm with you. The week after that I'll be in Sweden.
Damn.
So
Damn.
it's
Forgot about
like
that.
bang, bang,
How
bang,
long is that
like
trip?
5 days. So
Wow.
yeah, we
That's
leave on
not as
Sunday.
long as I thought it was going to be, to be honest with you.
Really?
I feel like that's not a trip. That's not like a 5 day trip. I feel like that's like 7 to 10.
See, that's the thing.
Because like,
Because
it's like that's at least 2 days of is it a work trip?
yeah.
Right.
Do you
So
think
that makes
I'm
sense,
just
I
going to
guess.
Sweden to go to Sweden?
I mean, look, dude, you've done some
You
shit
could.
that you text me about it. I'm like, bro, I don't even, no one else does that. So you never know with you, to be honest with you. But I guess work trip, that makes sense. But that's like 2 days, that's like 2 full days of traveling, basically. So you get like maybe 2.5, 3 days there max, but it's still Sweden. I mean,
Yeah.
look, I'm not gonna complain about that. That would be very dope as well. So good for you though.
No, that's the thing. So I'm not going to go in depth, but Steven will understand when I say this. So we all kind of have two people in our offices. So I have a roommate. Everyone essentially has a roommate before we move to the new office. And then some of the directors will be able to split. So my roommate, his name starts with the letter Z, rhymes with Mac. Not going to say the name, but if you get it, you get it. And he just went to Sweden with his boss not too long ago. And I was like, yo, when you're over there, do y'all have to use like show passports or anything? He was like, no, what's crazy is once you're in the EU, you kind of can just travel from country to country. The only time that sometimes it may happen is like if you're in the taxi or like if you're driving and you go into another country, they'll randomly end up checking like certain people's passports. All I'm gonna say is it's Sweden, and I don't think it's gonna be random if they check my passport.
No, you're gonna be one of the few if you catch my drift.
Exactly. So
There's
that was
yeah.
that was the thing I wanted to say because he was like, "Oh, Christian, you should be good. Like they probably won't check." I can assure you, it's not going to be random at all
They're gonna be
when it
like,
happens.
hey, over here, we
Yo,
got one. We got one.
exactly.
Go get him. Go
We
check
met
his
our
stuff.
quota for the day. So
For the year,
So
bro.
exactly for the year. So we did all the checking we needed to do. What I wanted to dive into, because I had a hot take. The NCAA tournament on the men's and women's side. So not even going to dive into the women's first. I really want to talk about the big story, which is both men and women UConn's teams and both the men and women NC State teams are both in the Final Four. But the wilder part about all of this is there's a chance for none of them to even make it to the championship game.
Facts.
Like, it's not like UConn is playing NC State
Right.
in those games. It's on the men's side, NC State is playing Purdue, and then on the women's side, NC State is playing South Carolina. They're both the underdogs in those games.
Yes.
Then on the UConn side, UConn is playing Alabama, and then UConn is playing Iowa. Only one of those two are more so favored. In that. What are your thoughts on, you can choose men, women, both. Like, what are your thoughts on the Final Four matchups?
All right. Do we want to, what are we going to talk about the game last night? You want to talk about that now? You want to talk about that?
Yes, it's your floor.
So it's all right. So it's the hottest topic because it was a standalone game. We got 12.3 million viewers, which is a crazy number. That blew out a ton of games, and I think college football last year, all but the Ohio State Michigan game, it had better rating than all those games outside of that. All right, so I texted you and told you, you know damn well that I'm not going to watch the game. You told me that I had to, so I felt bad. So I felt obligated to watch the game. So I watched. I had it on. I had it on for the second quarter until the end of the game, basically. And I watched probably like 8 to 10 minutes of game time, like actually actively watch the game. It's like, so they got lucky, and I don't mean this to like put it down. People were still going to watch, but they got lucky that there was nothing else on. Like, there was no NBA games like on TNT or ABC, whatever. It was a standalone thing, and that's what they wanted, and they got it. And 12.3 million people watched it. Now, I don't need to tell anybody who knows, but Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are nice. Yes. Caitlin Clark has 40, bro. 40. In a college basketball game, men's or women's, like whenever they do it, that's like, I feel like people just don't understand how impressive that really is. In the college game to score 40, like that's really tough. And Angel Reese had 16 and 20 boards? Or 17 and 20, something like that. Yep. That's not easy to do as well. Like, that's really hard to do. There's not a lot of guys in the league that in men's or the NBA that do that. So, but I think they also, like, the hype. I will say this: the hype was more than the game. The game did not live up to, I think, the expectations. I think people like really wanted it to be a nail biter, back and forth, last second shot. You know, Angel Reese guarding Caitlin Clark, you know, something like that, right? It was still a good game in the beginning from what I kept up with in the first quarter. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but it looked like it was a good game in the first quarter. Iowa kind of pulled away. You know, LSU would make a little comeback. It was in 6 or 5, and then Caitlin Clark would make a shot. So, you know, it was never really like close, I think, in the second half, but nonetheless, like, it was their stage. That might be the most viewed game that they'll have, including the Final Four and the national title game, depending on who it is, maybe. But I don't know. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are really, really good. Like, they're elite of the elite, like all-time great players, especially Caitlin Clark. Some of the things she does is pretty, like, you're not like, we've all seen the highlights, but like, I don't know, maybe it's just different when you watch it live and you see like, oh damn, like, all right, that was nice. She had a heater going in the fourth quarter, I think, where she scored maybe like eight points in a row, something like that. That part I watched. But everything else was kind of sloppy. You know what I mean? At least like in the men's game, it's like the men's game is pretty flawed. Like, they do the same shit every single game, but like there's more like talent spread out like on the rosters. Like, each team doesn't have just like one person tiered. Everybody else kind of like fills in after that, like the women's game does. But I think it helped that those two last night went for 40 and then went for 16 and 20, whatever it was. They could have benefited more from, you know, one of those down to the wire games, but you're not going to get that in sports. Then it happens with every game. But I did watch it, so I think I'm taking the rest of the year off with women's.
You can.
Women's basketball, women's sports. I'll watch some of the Olympics, but no, I kid. But no, it was like, yeah, those two are really fucking good, dude. Like, Angel Reese is not the villain. I think Caitlin Clark is. I think even though she doesn't say anything wrong, I still think what Michael Reese said last week. I think it's just like the really good white college player. People just tend to hate, and it's fine. Like, it's great. I think the sport needs it. And I mentioned last week, I hope Cooper Flagg is the same way with that guy who's going to Duke.
Yeah.
It was, Caitlin Clark definitely makes it entertaining, and I think she can definitely be one of those. I don't want to say Steph Curry types when she goes to the league, but she can have a pretty big impact, bigger than maybe that we've seen in the last like handful of years. She has like a little Sabrina Nescu. I don't know. Maybe I just don't pay attention enough to it. I see her face, but you obviously follow it closer than I do, even though you don't follow it, every day. But like, is she like can Caitlin Clark be a bigger name than Sabrina Nescu?
Yeah, easily. I
Easily, right?
I don't think so. Sabrina went to a big city, which helped her a lot. She was popular, but some of it is when you have that Kobe lineage or like that Kobe thing,
I was just gonna ask you that. I was
it
just gonna ask
makes your
you that.
name blow up. Same thing with
Yeah.
like Paige Beckers. Like she was great, but it
Yo,
helped with that too.
Paige is like, she's been the truth for a long time. I
She
read.
has,
I did a
yeah,
little research.
yes.
This is
Oh
how you know
man.
it's like legit. Is that when I'm doing a little due diligence on the women's game, it's a big deal. She's been nice since middle school, bro. Like,
You saw that.
she's
I
been
know.
she's been that, and like that's whoa. RJ Barrett just threw it down on AD and Max Christie. But yeah,
You
she's
said on
been that
LeBron?
way
That's
since
crazy.
like middle school, bro. Like sixth
Yeah,
grade, which is
they
which is
said that.
crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
So my quick thoughts on the women's, and then we can segue over to the men's. So with the women's, and some people are going to disagree with this, but Angel Reese wasn't the best player on her team. That's number
Right.
one. Number two, I told everyone this a long time ago. There's no reason to have Haley Van Lith guarding Caitlin Clark. If you watched last year, you saw her get cooked when she was on Louisville. You thought it was going to be different. No, you should have just put Flau'jae Johnson on Caitlin Clark. It would have maybe allowed her to only score 20, 25, not 40 points. And then there was a point where like Haley didn't even know what to do because she was just chucking it up and it was just going to go in. The best player on LSU, although it sucks because a lot of the attention goes to Angel, is Flau'jae Johnson. And the girl had like blocks as well.
Yes. Yes.
And she can do a lot more. If you look at Angel, she's taller. So she's going to get those rebounds, but also
20.
20 rebounds. But if you look at her game compared to Flau'jae, and this is why I want to segue into UConn against USC, Flau'jae is inside and out because she hit that one buzzer beater one, which was big. And then Caitlin Clark, although she can go in, and here's the segue I'm gonna use, they were legit saying that if you just force Caitlin Clark to go left, she has a broken left hand half the
Sure.
time. That's the first thing. Name how many times you are going to be allowed to say that in the men's game. You can almost not have a flawed hand. The only person I was joking around that they
Jalen
give
Brown.
grief for, Jalen Brown. That's it.
Yeah.
Nobody else. Are you going to be able to say they have a broken left or right hand? You can't
No.
do that. Now,
Yep.
segueing that into the other game, which I personally feel was the better of the two games, the USC against UConn game, because Juju Watkins and Paige Beckers are both nice. What I like about them is they're inside and out. Caitlin Clark is straight out, but she can go inside if needed.
Um, I was different. I didn't see any of that second game, by the way. None of it.
Don't even
Like,
worry.
I think you expected that. Um, but I feel like just watching the highlights. I did watch the highlights. I feel like Juju and Paige are more just like straight up hoopers.
Yes,
Not like,
yes.
I think Caitlin Clark is like a hooper, but like
hmm
she's like definitely in like in that Steph Curry like category of just like doing whatever, like playing outside the system, and like kind of just not even like just doing her own thing. But like
hmm
Paige and Juju do their own thing, but in such like a smoother way. Caitlin Clark does like 8 step backs and just like chucks up, and it's like it's probably going in.
Yeah,
Like, but
yes.
like, but the other two, it's just like it's fundamentals. It's smooth. They know what they're doing. They know to get to a spot, and they just do it, and it just
hmm
buckets. Like different,
Yeah.
like you know, it's different, but those two are very similar players because
Yeah.
they just go get a bucket, man, all the time,
Yep. The
all the
big
time.
thing that I saw.
So I'll say this: it also kind of sucks, like that Caden Clark is so big, because I feel like people forget about the casual fans or like the above average fans will know who those two are, but I feel like the casual fans don't even know who Paige and Juju are.
No.
Because like of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and rightfully so.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think they don't get enough credit. I think Paige did before her injury a couple
Injury.
years
That
ago.
sucked. Yeah.
Yeah, that derailed a lot, but nonetheless, I think she still gets credit, but maybe not enough.
Yeah. So my other thing that I loved was when Paige was guarding Juju at the 3-point line, and Juju like put it between her legs a couple times
It just
and just like chucked it. And the best part about that is an avid basketball fan, they were like, oh shit, like Juju has Paige shaking. Like she was on skates for a second, but then the other side, Paige went right back at her. And then Paige would hit her with the mid range. And that's what you love to see. You
mhm,
knew everyone in the stadium knew what Caitlin Clark was going to do. Oh, she's just going to chuck that shit up.
right.
3-point line. It don't even matter where. One thing I
Okay,
hate is they
they were
kept saying the
hooping.
logo. She was not shooting from the damn logo. She was
No,
shooting far,
dude,
but it
it's
was
not. It's not. Sometimes it's not their fault that the logo stretches from 3-point line and 3-point line, and it just takes up the whole
exactly.
fucking court, dude. So yeah, everyone's shooting from the logo.
It does. So I want to segue now to the men. I don't know why, but I'm excited to see DJ Burns against Zach Edey.
Mm.
But Burns got to get some damn rebounds because he does not rebound the ball for shit, really.
No, he doesn't. I do when
4 rebounds.
it was one of his final and ones against Duke, late in the game, and he went to the line and they said he had 27, and I'm thinking maybe he's got like 9 or 10 boards, like 8, 9, 10 boards. He had like 4. I was like, what? How does he
Exactly.
like? I
How
don't
are
know.
you
It's
that
confusing to
big
me. I
and
was
you
I was
only
kind of
have
thrown off by
4?
that, but nonetheless, you're especially against Zach Edey. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he's not getting.
No. So that's the big thing. I don't know. RG3 was one of the people that said it, but we all want to see them let them play. Don't call whistles every single 3 seconds.
Yeah, facts.
One, Tennessee's the big man pissed me off because if you watch Zach Edey, he almost did the same. They even said, yo, don't let Zach Edey go over that right shoulder because if he goes over the right shoulder, he's
Done.
going to be able to do his turnout. He did it so many times. And then, yes, the freshman, he had a tough thing that he was doing out there, just being out there for Tennessee. But dog, it doesn't matter. You could be 2. If you see the person doing the same thing every single time,
I think you
make him
would.
go the other way.
And dude, Delvin Connect. I mean, he got 37. No one's gonna remember that, but
He was
37 is tough,
balling.
bro.
Yeah.
It's easy when you're Zach Edey and you go to the line 20 times a game, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, the 37 piece is pretty tough too.
Yeah. So that was the big thing over there. I guess quick picks. UConn against Alabama. Who do you have?
I got UConn.
So, and then on the other side, Purdue against NC State.
I got Purdue. I think Zach Edey could have another really big game.
He could. So
His
I
we'll
have,
we'll talk about this down the road, but his pro prospects are just mind numbing. Like how to even go about what to do with it. I said this is a hot take. I said send his ass to San Antonio and just put him down
oh,
there with Wemby and
yeah,
just
that's
figure it out,
crazy.
man. Like they're two totally different players. We can talk about this later, but I said send his ass down to San Antonio and make that shit work.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
The wild part about that is some people, no one knows where to rank him or rate him or anything because some
So
people are
strange.
saying he could be like Boban, but then on the other side, they're like, you know what, he could be a lottery pick.
Remember when
I
um remember when Hashim Thabit came out of UConn?
yes, yeah,
I think he was a better pro prospect, but he came in at the wrong time. If he came in like
hmm
early 2000s, I think he would have been all right. But he came in at the wrong time when like that transition
yeah.
was going from big man to guys who can shoot and he couldn't shoot dick.
He got picked.
Um,
No, he couldn't.
and
Got
Zach Edey
picked by
can't either.
Memphis.
Zach Edey's so damn slow running down the court, dude.
He
I don't
is.
know. It's just like it sucks. Like that's such like a waste of a body, unless he got to work
Yes.
with like Hakeem or something, and he started developing something. But yeah, such a random player, dude. And he's 2-time or potentially 2-time national player of the year in college basketball. That shows you how different it is too.
Yeah, so that's something I was telling people about. College basketball is an extremely different game than the NFL. You look at even players like Tim Tebow, how they were really good in college, but then there was nothing in the NFL. Like, look at the college basketball right now. There's no way DJ Burns is going to be able to do anything in the NBA. Like,
Yeah.
he just can't. Same with Zach Edey.
Hmm.
Because of how the game is now, you cannot be slow. A lot
Yeah.
of college basketball, you can do a lot of half court. You can't be just half court anymore in the NBA. And that's kind of the crazy part. If I had to say UConn or Bama, UConn's running away. They're not even trying to play with anybody. So I have it on that side. On the
Bro,
other
they went on
side,
a 30-0 run.
how does that happen?
That's that. I took the dog for a walk. I was gone for 10 minutes. I come
Mhm.
back and it's like a 20-0 run at that point. I'm
Yes,
like, what? I'm like, and obviously I asked my wife, I was like, what happened? She's like, I don't know.
exactly.
I was like, I guess Illinois doesn't either, but nonetheless, like you
No,
something, dude.
no.
30-0 run. That's
It,
absolutely incredible.
yes. And then on the other side of that, I'm gonna go with NC State. I don't think, but
Hmm.
NC State in the women's
That's
is
fair.
not going to be able to do it. So I think one of these NC State teams got to win.
True. I do think if Bama is gonna win, I think what's his name? Garrett Nelson? Is that it?
Hmm.
The white dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have like a better game than he had against Carolina.
Yes.
UConn is a better defensive team, way better defensive team than Carolina is. But I think if they're gonna win that game or at least have a chance, he's got to have a all American performance.
Yeah.
Which
I
I would
agree.
like. But that's what you want to see, right? Like you want to see that dude go off for like 37 and like 12 rebounds and have like a crazy game and yada yada yada. But nonetheless, yeah,
Yeah. So Grant Nelson, he only had 8 points against Clemson. You can't have a
yeah,
game like
you
that.
guys
You're
got.
6'11".
You're lucky. Like you're lucky that you had that and you were able to escape. But
Exactly.
nonetheless,
Yeah. So that's the big thing over there. And then on the women's side, I just don't want to see. No offense to Iowa, I just don't want to see them do it. So
really,
yeah, I
okay,
really just don't
all
care.
right.
I want to see.
I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I want to see UConn against South Carolina only because you have the new coach that's pulling in all the women now against one of the best coaches there is.
I feel like people
And
also forget that South Carolina is actually playing still.
exactly,
Like
right?
I forgot. I was talking to him today. I was like, oh shit, Alabama's playing against UConn. Forgot about Alabama because everyone's talking
Hmm.
about NC State and Purdue and UConn
Yes.
defending national champs, and everyone talking about Clayton Clark, UConn and LSU, and you're like, oh shit, the
Hmm.
the team that's 33-0 is still playing. Forgot about them.
Yeah, exactly. But the wild part is, so I was explaining to someone, there's like levels to like hate. You hate, but you really respect the player, and then you just straight up hate their guts. And with Caitlin Clark, I respect her to the utmost. I just don't want her to end up doing it because it's like, damn, you want to see that great thing go down. It was like the Warriors. When the Warriors just kept winning, you wanted them to kind of
You're
like
saying some
lose
shit that I
some.
would say.
I mean,
You're saying some like this is people might think this is me talking.
yeah,
Or I
so
said,
that's
or I told you what to say because this is some shit that I would say
see,
for sure.
so that's really how I feel about Caitlin Clark and them. I love what she's doing, but I'm like, all right, you know what? I really want to see
Man.
Paige or someone else. But the suck part is, if Iowa loses, no one's gonna care about the state again. Like,
No,
there's
no,
nothing.
we're done.
So that's the big thing over there. I'll segue quick into the finance component, and then we'll go into sports. And then I have a good one for today for our new segment that we have. But so finance. Thursday, I'll be gone. I'll be at NFT NYC. I've been trying to set up different things with people over there. So looking forward to what kind of happens. I am not going to meet up with Nutella Liquor. He has gone and in the past. But some of the other homies that I've been talking to, there's like 3 different events that are on Thursday. There's so Easy's event, if anyone knows about like the Bodagos, I'm going to that one. Then after that one, there's a Kleinosaurus event. After the Kleinosaurus event, there's a Pudgy Penguins event. So I'm trying to hit all 3 of them on when earlier that day on Thursday, they do have a Battle of NYC basketball event. I'm not going to get in town at noon just to go to that when I did want to play in it, but I'm not about to get up at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning to take a train to end up getting there by noon. I can just play basketball with people other times. Wednesday, actually tomorrow, they're having a yacht party. If anyone remembers before, I
Heyo.
did that. Exactly. Not doing the one tomorrow. Wasn't going to come in on a Wednesday to do that. Also, at my job, we have closing, so I couldn't have started a new job. Said I'm gonna go on a yacht, just not be with y'all. And then Friday, I'm trying to end either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. I'm trying to hit up one of the games that are up there. So I'm figuring out if I'm going to go to a Yankees game, because this is their opening weekend, or end up going to see the Knicks play because they do have Sacramento that's up there, or I'll go see the Brooklyn Nets play. So trying to figure that out. One of those are probably going to be what I end up doing. So I'll report back to you all on all of that stuff. But I want to switch into the other sport because I talked about basketball for a second. I want to talk about football.
Mhm.
And this is kind of like the big month that Steven and I get excited for because a lot of things will be happening. NFL draft. So I want
Mhm.
your quick thoughts on, let's just stay in the top 10. One, do you think there's going to be any trades in the top 10? And two, who do you think is the third quarterback that'll be drafted? We know who the first two kind of are ish, but who do you think that third quarterback is going to be?
Trades. I think it's pretty obvious the Bears are going to, you know, draft Caleb Williams.
Hmm.
Um, I think they might trade their other top 10 pick. I think we established it was like seventh or so. I
Yeah.
feel like they could trade to secure one of the offensive linemen, one of the offensive tackles, either Olu or Joe Alt, or if they want to really help Caleb Williams, trade up and draft Marvin Harrison Jr. So I feel like outside of because I haven't heard anything about other trades. I don't know about you, but there's usually some rumblings around this time, but especially about quarterbacks. But I haven't heard anything on that front.
Bears are
Um,
9.
huh?
Bears are 9.
Yeah, I think they could trade at least to like five or so with the team, and I don't know if Marvin Harrison Jr. will last that long because I think the Cardinals might get him. But um, third quarterback chosen, Caleb Williams number one. I guess Drake May number two.
Mm,
Um, I don't know. Honestly, I'd probably put Michael Penix Jr. at number two, and then I'd put Drake May at number three. Jane Daniels, I had just like I've never had much confidence in him. I know, what he did at LSU was pretty special. I'm obviously won the Heisman, but like, what is that like? What does that really mean heading into the league? Like how many times have we see Heisman Trophy quarterbacks go in the league and not do shit, right?
hmm.
So I don't know. He had a bad pro day, and like that always. I try not to put too much stock into pro days, the combine, and like poor performances because the film is what you really want to watch, but it's really tough to screw up a pro day.
Yeah.
Like you gotta like just either have an off day or like, but like you can't have an off day in the league. That's the
Mm.
thing. It's like there's a lot to it, but he had a really bad pro day. I also heard that Talia Tagovailoa had a pretty bad
It was not good.
pro day
Yeah.
as well. I didn't. I Tua is like infinitely better than his brother. I think everyone
Yeah.
would agree with that. So like anyone that compares the two doesn't know what they're talking about. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, I think it'll be, and I think Michael Penix Jr. is closer to Caleb Williams than people want to think. Also,
Hmm.
um, and then yeah, I'll put Drake May. I guess it depends on who you want. Now, I will say that Michael Penix Jr. aside from the athleticism or the athleticism is because he's a lefty, he's a lot like Tua. Um,
Hmm.
his accuracy is crazy good. Like,
Yeah.
and he ran 4.4, I think it was 4.45.
Yeah.
Which is like, pretty significant for a quarterback. But I'll say Caleb Williams, Michael Penix Jr., and Drake May, and then everybody else, however you want to do it. But yeah, those three guys.
So just looking at the draft, I really think it'll be 3 quarterbacks taken, then 3 wide receivers taken at in the beginning.
Oh,
Uh, yeah. So Caleb is one. He's been one since he left Oklahoma. If
yes,
we're being honest,
yes,
like
yes,
nobody ever cared about anything else. It's almost as if like Trevor Lawrence. So when
yeah,
Trevor, they
immediate lock.
knew immediate lot. It didn't really matter what he did. Same with like Joe, not as much Joe Burrow because he really had to ball out that year at LSU for it to happen. But Trevor Lawrence at Clemson, as soon as like he took the field, you were like, yes. Caleb Williams, as soon as he got like the Heisman, did all that stuff, Oklahoma, you were like, it doesn't matter. We're just waiting
Done.
for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then two, I've heard so many things. So, of course, some people are saying Jaden Daniels. Some have said Drake May. I'm just going to be in the most respectful way, and I'll say Jaden Daniels because the Commanders do not need to mess up another UNC quarterback again. They did it once, and you traded that quarterback. So
Right.
just don't make that mistake again. Three, is where I'm having the trouble, because I've started to hear recently rumors that are out there that JJ McCarthy might be in play there. That's wild for it to be that high up when, number one, Steven, these players are not even playing. How the hell does your draft stock go from 20 to 30 to up you're in the top 10?
I don't know, man. Look, I watched JJ McCarthy a lot the last 2 seasons, and he's really good, really good. But he also benefited from having a elite run game
Mm-hmm.
and an elite defense.
Yeah.
Like, which he's not going to get that in the league. Like,
Mm-mm.
he's just not. And I don't think he's like, I know um I know he had a really high completion percentage in college, but again, like the windows that you're throwing into are way smaller in the league. I just don't trust him to make throws and like be like the guy and like be a complete difference maker without having like he's gonna go to a team that's not gonna have a good run game.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes like that closer to 10 than like 20 range, he'll go to a team with like a below average run game and like a below average defense, obviously, if like not like a really bad defense. Um, so yeah, I don't trust him. I mean, quarterbacks are like you never know, right? But
Mm-hmm.
with him, I think I just don't trust him enough to be like, yeah, I'll spend a top 10 pick on him, or like, a team who takes a leap of faith and does drop him in the top 10. I think they'll be crazy, but sure, I could see it happening because stranger things have happened, but I just don't trust him enough to be like, yep, that guy right there, that's my guy.
Yeah, no.
It's like Kenny Pickett. It's like same thing as Kenny Pickett. Same thing. I
Yeah,
felt the same way.
he's with Philly now.
Uh-huh.
So, but I think that Michael Penix will be a good pro quarterback. I don't want him to go in the top 3 or top 5. I'd love for him to fall to like an 11, 12, or 13. And those
Mhm.
picks are Minnesota, Denver, and Oakland. I mean, Las Vegas. So fall into
Yeah.
one of those will be good for him because they have more. If he has a good wide receiver, i.e. Devontae Adams or Justin
Mhm.
Jefferson, solid. Because look what he did with Roma Dunze. So that's kind of my thoughts over there. I want to end up leaving it now with the NBA, and then we'll end up coming back to all this next week. What are your thoughts now looking at we're coming into the final 2 weeks of the NBA regular season? Uh,
Mhm.
and I don't really care about the East. We don't need to talk about the
No,
East,
no.
just talking about the West. If we look at that, and I don't care about the top of it, all I care about is that shit. I didn't know that changed. 7 through 10. So Dallas right now moved up, and they did what I wanted them or Phoenix to do. And Dallas is 5, the Pelicans are 6,
Oh.
Phoenix is
Mhm.
7, Sacramento is 8, Lakers are 9, Golden State is 10. All we need now is Phoenix to top Pelicans. That's it. That's honestly what the secret fans are like. All right, bet this is great. But of course, the league probably wanted to have Dallas in there, Phoenix in there,
Mhm.
LA in there, and
Mhm.
Golden State.
Mhm. Mhm.
If we're looking at it right now, 7 through 10, who do you think makes it out?
Lakers. I think with the way LeBron is playing, which by the way, his game the other night, I know we texted about it, was pretty insane in the fourth
Yeah.
quarter. The entire fourth quarter was just a giant heat check for him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crazy to watch. Um, but I would say the Lakers. I think I trust them. Now I will say Darvin Ham. I saw someone say this. Say Darvin Ham's gonna pay for his sins in benching Rui or having Rui come off the bench for like 2 months in the first half and starting Torian Prince instead. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so somehow the Lakers are playing the best basketball that they've played the entire season, and they're still stuck in ninth.
Yeah.
Teams ahead of like that's how good the West is though. Everyone just keeps winning. So if the Lakers make it out of the play-in and go like on the conference finals, be a bigger accomplishment this year than it was last year coming out of the play-in.
Mm-hmm.
I just trust LeBron more than like outside of Steph, but something's going on with Golden State. And now when the playoffs click, I mean, we've seen it like teams just the level just changes. That's why I don't trust the Kings. I don't trust any team really at the top of the West that's not Denver or the Clippers. I don't trust anyone in the East outside of Milwaukee. But like I trust the Lakers, the Warriors to do it because once the playoffs start, it's different. But something's going on with Golden State, and I don't like it. Bad
Hmm.
vibes. Especially Draymond just doing dumb shit all the time, all
He
the
does
time,
not care.
all the time, dude. Just doing dumb shit. Crazy. But yeah, I would trust the Lakers more than probably anybody because I just trust LeBron and the way they're playing right now. D'Lo's playing well. As long as
Yeah.
our game just doesn't say anything, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah. So looking at it, if it ended right now, the Lakers, yes. The leagues, there's certain players that you're always going to see. This is similar to when the Spurs, they were making it every single time. You just knew it, similar to the Warriors when they were going to do it. That's how the Lakers are right now. The Lakers are going to make it in.
And also gonna say like LeBron's almost done, right? He's got
Yeah.
the rumors are out there, but he's got less than 5 years left for sure. But I think everyone would probably agree with that. So like I say this jokingly, but like kind of seriously, the league needs him in the playoffs
Hmm.
to finish out his career. They can't let him like, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to say it's rigged, but
Hmm.
you know, he's got to be there.
It,
Like LeBron's
it,
gonna have a chance.
if I had to guess, I'd say, and I don't know why this came in, I think he only has 2 years left. I just,
Yeah, I mean, you sure? Like this is a lot longer than I think a lot of people expected him to play.
bro,
Um,
he's played so long.
wow, it's a lot of miles. Like I think the podcast thing kind of started the. At least you and I talked
Yeah.
about it when that came out. It was like, yeah, this is like. I know a lot of guys are doing podcasts like mid career or like towards the end, but like for LeBron to spend more time doing this, I think I don't think it puts nail in the coffin, but yeah, I think it's like, oh yeah, this. I mean, it makes sense. Like he's 39 years old. He's been playing for 20 years. He's been you know dominating the league for 20 years. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
the league wants him and needs him in the playoffs for the next at least 2 seasons, however long he's going to play.
so most teams in the league right now only have 5 or 6 games left.
Wow.
Phoenix already has 77 games they played, so they have like 5 left. The Kings have played 74, which is weird how like one team has played 77, the others played 74. So now you got to play 8 more games. All right, cool. But that's really it over there. We'll know next week a lot more because it'll be the final week of the regular season. All I'm gonna say is if you play the Wizards, the Pistons, the Spurs, or the Blazers in your last games, you're gonna make the playoffs. It doesn't really matter.
That's
But I want to go to the final segment of the day, and I spent a lot of time doing this segment. So last week we were actually both wrong because more details came out, and they said it was um, people that might not have been legally working that were on the
right.
bridge and they were on a break, which is why the one guy denied service because he probably didn't have health insurance. So
Yeah.
you can end up guessing that. So a lot more pieces came out. But
uh,
now we have a new one. So I'm going to give you the details and you only get to ask 2 questions. You can't ask anything else.
all right.
So it's a black, white, or other. So this is a Los Angeles individual has admitted to stealing jewelry from a luxury hotel in Beverly Hills and then selling the stolen items on the other side of the country in Florida. They pled guilty to one felony count of interstate transportation of stolen property. And then this individual took an Uber to an unnamed hotel, convinced the employee to give them a key so that they could go inside and steal 2 suitcases from the victims while they were at dinner.
Uh,
Okay, there's a picture of all of this,
okay.
and the if this helps at all, the residents who this individual stole from, they were Brazilian. They were in town from Brazil. The suitcases contained jewelry, clothing, and other accessories with an estimated value of around $1.8 million. He took the stuff to Miami.
Okay. It's either you shouldn't have said the last part because I'm gonna say other now. Up until you said that, I was gonna say white person for
I
sure.
know.
That's a white person crime. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a white person crime. But now I'm gonna say other.
So I will now admit, yes, I was reading the details and I said the Miami part gave it away because the person's name is Jobson Maragoni de Castro.
Sure. Yeah.
It gives it away.
That's
If
too bad.
respectfully, since I know a lot of them, they were probably Cuban because last name De Castro.
Sure.
So that's the story for today. We'll go with another one next
Um,
week, and we'll keep going from there. But what you got for everyone?
so my brother-in-law BJ, his brother orders jerseys from like one of those, random Chinese websites or some shit like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's put an order in, and I got 3 jerseys that are arriving hopefully before summertime. Not sure when they're
Yeah.
gonna arrive, but whatever. So first one I got
Is
a
that a Wade?
D Wade
Okay.
and finals jersey.
Oh,
Second one I got is a
and Magic
yellow or
Johnson.
yeah, Magic Johnson old school Lakers jersey. And then this one is good. Pumped up this. I got a Barry
Kobe.
Bonds.
Oh,
I can't even see it. Barry Bonds pirate jersey, a white Bonds pirate
oh,
jersey.
okay.
So I'm pretty pumped about those. I got down the rabbit hole of wanting more jerseys because I have so many, but yeah, I'm pumped about those.
Mhm.
That's gonna be good to add to the collection. I don't know what they're gonna be like.
Yeah.
BJ got a teal Mariners Griffey jersey that
Ooh,
came in. That was like super nice. Like this is a majestic,
yeah.
like name brand. Everyone knows it. So these like are not majestic or not whatever, but like they've also him and his brothers have also that they're really good material. So
Hmm.
I'm pretty pumped. So that's what I'm rolling with.
So funny part about what you just said is when you were showing it, I didn't even see the colors. I saw the numbers, and that just shows you that we
Yeah.
kind of just know sports differently. Because when I saw 32, I was like, all right, I know who it is. When I
Magic.
saw three
There's
and
only one.
red,
There's only one.
yeah, exactly. When I
Uh-huh.
saw red and a three, I was like, all right. The one that
Yeah.
threw me off was the last one because the
Yeah.
color wasn't coming through, and I saw
Yeah. Tough.
24.
Tough.
And I was
Tough.
like, all right, we're still going with the whole, basketball. So I was like, maybe Kobe, like someone
Tough.
else.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh shit, that's Barry Bonds. That is right. Because if you know anything about Steven, he's one of the few like Pittsburgh Pirates fans that are out there.
And
So
it's 6-0
they
or
are,
5-0 Pittsburgh Pirates. 5-0 Pittsburgh
but
Pirates.
not gonna jinx them. But remember when this happened with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, when they went on that streak in the beginning.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But we're gonna wish for the positive on that. Now I'm gonna segue mine into a lighthearted moment, although it's a passing. So my aunt passed away on Tuesday, which is like really weird how like these connections happen with us. But for the longest, she passed away in South Carolina, Charleston. We all thought her name was Aunt Myrtle. Like the whole time we always thought it was Aunt Myrtle. We get the obituary, there's no T in her name. It is
I thought
it
you were gonna
is
say there's no Myrtle in her name at all. They just call her that.
her name is Aunt Merle. Everyone called her Myrtle. Like
No one corrected her.
no one
No one
ever
corrected her.
corrected anyone. They were all like, "Yo," I used to see her all the time. I'd be like, "Hey, Aunt Myrtle." She would be like, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" We
No,
all thought it was Myrtle. Whole time we get the obituary, Merle, and then you
yo,
got like her 12 other siblings or whoever else is still living, and they were like, "Is Merle this whole time?"
nope.
Look, so nobody.
Myrtle. R.I.P. and Myrtle.
So that's how it goes. Until next time, we'll catch y'all later. We out.
Peace.